Hello everyone and welcome to Cinderful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to take a look at Warhammer 40,000 Necrons. Now in this video, we're going to go through the army rules for Necrons before taking a look at the detachment in this particular video, the Awakened Dynasty. We'll go through all the detachment rules, enhancements, and stratagems available to this force before looking at where we recommend to get started with for the faction. We'll then look at some other units we can use to expand upon those first couple of initial purchases, and finally finish off the video with a little sample army list for you to use, hopefully as some inspiration for starting your own force of the Necrons in Warhammer 40,000. With that said, let's talk about the army rule for Necrons. This is reanimation protocols. This allows you to heal all your Necron units up each turn at the end of your command phase. You can reanimate each unit for D3 wounds. This can either heal models back to their starting number of wounds, or if the models in the unit have been slain, so you've got multiple model units, you can return a model to that unit with 1 wound remaining, and then you would continue healing. Now, once a unit is at its starting strength and all its models have their starting number of wound, nothing further will happen. And this does also mean if you have like single models, so something like a tank for instance, that is a single model unit, that thing, once it is taken off the table, it cannot be brought back. This doesn't allow you to bring things back from the dead. Today's video is brought to you by Gap Games, a fantastic retailer in Australia for a variety of different miniature war games. If you'd like to help support the channel, we have an affiliate link where by clicking on and purchasing, you'll help support the channel, but you'll also help support Gap Games, which is a fantastic servant to the community. Now in this, we are looking, as I said, at the Necrons Awakened Dynasty detachment. Now they have the Command Protocols detachment rule. While a Necron's character model is leading a unit, each model in that unit makes an attack roll. They can add one to that hit roll, so pretty darn cool. Like just being able to attach characters and get +1 to hit when you do have some really cheap character options available to you in the Necrons is super nice. This just means that all your units just innately get better, which is great. Moving on, we then have our enhancements. So, first of all, for this we have the Veil of Darkness. Obviously, all these are Necron models only, but the Veil of Darkness is a once per battle use item. At the end of your opponent's turn, if the bearer's unit is not within engagement range of any enemy units, the bearer can use this enhancement. If they do so, remove them from the battlefield. Then, in the reinforcement steps of your next movement phase, you set that unit up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inch horizontally away from all enemy units. Really cool at just being able to get you some cool redeployment. Necrons generally have some pretty good shooting, so depending on what model you put this with, you can get a good shooting unit into a really nice spot. We then have the Netherrealm Casket, a bit more of a defensive item, allowing a unit that takes this to, while they're leading a unit, give that unit the stealth ability, so pretty cool. Phasal Subjugator is a really interesting one. This is Aura, and I see this being pretty good if you're taking lots of units that maybe don't have characters leading them. What this does is, while a friendly Necrons unit, excluding character units, are within 6 inch of the character carrying this, they get to add +1 to the hit roll, essentially putting out an aura of the Awakened Dynasty's faction or detachment rule. Lastly, we have the Energic Dermal Bond. This gives the bearer of it the Feel No Pain 4+ ability, so some really cool defensive work there. It can go on one of your characters and really make them quite hard to take down, because Necron characters are pretty darn tough. Moving on, we then have the stratagems for the Awakened Dynasty. Now, we have 6 of these as normal. First of all is Protocol of the Eternal Revenant. This allows us to essentially bring back Necron characters when they're destroyed, although we can only use this on each Necron character themselves once per battle. Protocol of the Undying Legions allows us to use reanimation protocols after our units are attacked. And Protocol of the Hungry Void, a battle tactic that we have access to, allows us to add 1 to our strength for our melee weapons, though if we do have a character leading the unit we use the stratagem on, we can also improve our AP by 1, though it's not cumulative with any other modifiers. Protocol of the Sudden Storm. This will allow us until the end of our turn to have ranged weapons equipped by the Necron unit we target count as assault weapons, and also if a character is leading the unit, they can reroll advance rolls as well. Protocol of the Conquering Tyrant, another battle tactic we have access to, is going to give us a reroll hit rolls of 1 for the unit we target when shooting, though if we have a character leading unit, it's in rerolls entirely. And then we have Protocol of the Vengeful Stars. This is a little bit interesting and has a few caveats. So first of all, one of our units has to be destroyed, then a Necron character unit needs to be within 6 inch, and be an eligible target to shoot at the unit that destroyed our other Necron unit. They can shoot them. So pretty cool set of commands that have, a lot of different phases they activate in. I'm a big fan of all of them. I think we've got some good access here. And so, where to get started with for your Necrons force? For me, I think the place to start is a Necron Overlord. First of all, this is just a fantastic model, the brand new Necron Lord here, the Sempiternal Weave. He's got a War Scythe, he's got a Resurrection Orb in the other hand there. Now, he does have a cool couple of abilities. My Will Be Done, once per battle round, one unit from your army can be targeted with a Battle Tactic Stratagem for 0 CP, which is really nice, and the Battle Tactic ones are really good. Implacable Resilience as well. Each time an attack is allocated to this model, you can subtract one from the damage as well. Now, he does have a couple of different loadout options. You can go with a Tachyon Arrow, which is a one-shot D6 plus 2 strength, 16 AP minus 5 attack with one single shot. But you will then get the option of taking the Resurrection Orb instead, which will allow you to activate reanimation protocols both in your and your opponent's command phase, which I think is just really, really good, especially for this particular detachment. This means you can go with something like the Void Scythe as the weapon. This will be weapon skill 3+, strength 12, minus 3 AP, damage 3, which is a pretty solid combat weapon option. Now, joining this model, we then have the Necron Warriors. They, for me, are just the place to start. Necron Warriors are solid as a unit. They're going to provide you with relatively cheap bodies, 10 models for 110 points. The number is Legion rule is really cool because this means Reanimation Protocols actually returns D3 plus 3 models to the unit, which is nice. And they've got two options of weapons, either the Gauss Flare, which is lethal hits and rapid fire, or you can go with a higher strength weapon and the lethal hits Gauss Reaper, though you lose rapid fire, but you do get an AP of -1 as well. Now, you do get some Scarab Swarms in here as well, which are a really interesting unit to bring into your force. I think they're probably taking up too many points just at the start of a beginning game, but they are an interesting thing to look at potentially bringing into your force. Scarab Swarms are going to have a really fun little rule they're going to be able to do, which is actually going to hurt your opponent's objective control with the Swarm rule. They're actually -1. And the Self-Destruction rule means you can actually send them out to do some mortal wounds to the enemy as like these little self-destructing bomb scarabs as well. Now, looking at where to go next, we definitely want to take a look at some of the other characters we have access to. And the first one of these is going to be the Plasmancer. I think the Plasmancer for me is probably my favourite character in the Necrons now on what he can bring to the table. The big thing, Harbinger of Destruction, making critical hits work on a 5+ is really, really solid. This works with so many different unit loadouts. For me, my particular favourite at the moment is Immortals. You can have a really solid infantry slaying unit. Now, speaking of the Immortals, they have two main weapon options they're going to be able to take, and they can either have, their standard Ghost Blaster, lethal hits, 2 shots, strength 5, -1 AP, but I like the Tesla Carbines. These are assault weapons with sustained hits 2 shots base, still strength 5, which is really nice, meaning they are going to be getting 3s on nearly any base sort of infantry, and even sort of more heavier infantry as well. I think this can be a really good sort of horde clearer. They don't have AP, but they can put out a ton of shots. On top of this, Implacable Eradication means each time a model in this unit makes an attack, they reroll wound rolls of 1, though they can reroll entire wound rolls as well if the enemy units on objectives, which is super, super cool because this really does help the Tesla Carbines, who are going to, be needing weight of dice to go through. Now, another character I like is the Royal Warden. For me, this is the cheapest character we currently have access to, and he provides, a really solid benefit of giving both heavy and assault to units he's leading. But for me, it is that cheapness of him. We are going to be wanting multiple characters in lots of different units, and your Immortals and Necron Warriors can have this cheap character nearby. Moving on, we definitely need anti-tank in the army, and I think some units that are really fun to bring in are actually Locust Heavy Destroyers. For me, these can be in units of 2. This means you can actually start returning the models to the units, which is cool. The Gauss Destructor is heavy with lethal hits, 1 shot only, but a 3+ to hit, strength 14, -4 AP, and damage 6. Now, as we looked at the start of the video in the enhancements, there's actually an enhancement we can take where we can actually get these guys to +1 to hit. To be on 2s to hit is really solid, and getting that attack through. Now, optimized for slaughter means you can actually reroll wound rolls of 1 against monsters and vehicles as well. Lastly, we have Lichguard. These are a unit that will be joining our Necron Overlord. They're a dedicated combat unit. They've got War Scythes themselves, so Strength 8, minus 3 AP, damage 2 with devastating wounds. Guardian Protocols as well, while the Noble models leading the unit, they are minus 1 to wounds, so a really solid unit. You can choose to go instead of the War Scythes with Hyperphase Swords, which are lower strength, lower AP, and lower damage, but you do gain the Dispersion Shield, which will give the unit a 4-up invulnerable save as well. And so here we have our sample army list. We've gone for the Awakened Dynasty detachment, obviously, an Overlord with Resurrection Orb and Void Scythe as our Warlord. We then have a Plasmancer and the Royal Warden with the Phasal Subjugator, which is the aura ability of +1 to hit, essentially giving it out to multiple units. We then have 10 Immortals. These are going to be joined by the Plasmancer. They've got Tesla Carbines for a really strong dedicated infantry killer. We then have the Necron Warriors in a block of 20, a block of 10, and 2 units of 2 Heavy Locust Destroyers with Gauss Destructors. These are going to be the units that are floating around our Royal Warden with Phasal Subjugator. And then we have 5 Lichguard with War Scythes, which will be joining the Overlord as well. If you've got some ideas though on how to start your own Necron force, let us know your thoughts about them down in comments below, your favourite characters to join into particular units, as well as that's really apparent in what you're trying to do with this particular force. And so that's the end of the video. We hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our great little community here, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description, and also linked down there are the best ways to help support the channel as well. Our Patreon and YouTube members down there are fantastic ways to help support the channel, and if you'd like to get a shout out like all these people, you can go and join up today. So with that said, we'd like to give a shout out to all our Patreon and YouTube members. So thank you to our Patreons: Rob B, Broken Chef, Andy C, Grimscold, Colorblind Magic, Benjamin Swallows, James Cater, Mark Harvey, Domir, Average Wargamer, Q Darmac, Andrew Bowen, Outer and Shot First, Kenny Lowe and Soren, and to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, James Tillman, Disco, John Castle, and Gargamel196. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay safe everyone, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.